I think it's been a great success story, really. Latvia was one of these economies that I think suffered very quickly and very sharply in the financial crisis, took very resolute measures and rebounded very quickly. What we see today is Latvia being one of the fastest growing countries in Europe, with growth this year expected to be well above 3%. That's something many countries in Europe would very much like to enjoy. That has happened because there's been a return of confidence in Latvia. Consumption is boosting growth, but also very clear measures were taken to restructure the economy, to act on the labor market. And I think the most clear signal of success that this has been the right approach is Latvia's adoption of the euro. I think that is an excellent step. It provides the framework for continued good policies. It provides a framework for stability. It eliminates currency risk. And for the financial sector, it gives access to refinancing resources from the ECB. And I think, you look at this over a period of the last 5 or 6 years, it's been a tremendous success story. Well, you first have to go back at what happened when PAREX initially failed. We were in the midst of the deepest financial crisis in the world, really, since the 1930s. We've had very nervous investors, we've had high-profile bank failures, we had a lot of factors that created a recipe for disaster for any new financial sector distress anywhere. So when PAREX showed sign of weaknesses, that became an immediate priority for the Latvian government, for the international institutions that were working with Latvia at the time, the European Union, the IMF, and the EBRD. And it was of utmost priority to act quickly. Failure to act would have truly created a crisis of catastrophic proportions in Latvia. So what did we do? We stepped in together with the government, provided equity to PAREX Bank, provided subordinated debt in order to stabilize the bank and restore confidence for its clients, its depositors. I think this was the right strategy, but more than just financial investment, what that allowed us is to become part, alongside the Latvian government, in the restructuring of the bank. And that is something that has taken a number of years, really, to take through. The key step there was to separate out the good parts of the bank, the good loans and the matching deposits, from those assets that were problematic. And the reason this was done is to ensure the good part of the bank can continue to operate, can continue to lend and service the needs of consumers and enterprises in Latvia, so that the economy continues to have the lifeline of financing to support investments, whilst the bad part was put in an asset management company called Reverta. The good bank became Citadele Banca. The bad part was put into Reverta, and that needs to be worked out over time, and it's an entirely different job than lending money to the economy. So that separation was crucial. And I think it is something that has taken time, it has taken money, but where we get today is a far better place than what would have happened had PAREX simply been let to fail. There is absolutely no debate about this. We were a bit experimenting on how that restructuring should best take place. I think the path that was chosen, the one of separating out the good and the problematic assets of the bank, turned out to be the right one. And I take as a proof for this that actually subsequently we've seen other banks in distress in other countries in Europe choosing exactly that approach as well. I think it has worked and paid off because we've had all along a government partner who's been very clear and very committed to this process. We've had a supervisory council who has provided input and supervision to this process. We've had very committed staff and competent management to see it through, both in Reverta and in Citadele Banca. So where do we go from here? Because we haven't closed that circle yet. Citadele Banca is still a majority state-owned bank. I think we will be able to call this a success once we re-privatize Citadele Banca, and that is what we are trying to do now. I'm sure, because of the good track record of Citadele Banca over these past few years, that is something that is going to be a successful operation. I'm sure that investors will find here a franchise that has value not just in Latvia but also as a platform that can serve maybe to be the basis for regional growth and continue to service the needs of Latvian and regional enterprises and consumers. And that is, I think, what will allow us to close the circle, what will allow us to effectively close the case that started 6 years ago with the failure of PAREX. I can tell you that is something that is watched throughout Europe. That will be truly, I think, a milestone restructuring story, and one we can all be very proud of. At least that's what I hope. Thank you.